All right. Let's move on to this then, because May is Lupus Awareness Month, a time when communities, families and advocates come together to shine a spotlight on the autoimmune disease that affects many parts of the body. An estimated 5 million people worldwide suffer from the chronic disease, which experts say remains largely misunderstood and underdiagnosed in many African countries. 38-year-old Lolo Lekgoane is among those living with lupus, which she was diagnosed with when she was just 25. Refiloe Seboko is with her in Mahikeng, where she joins us live from now. Refiloe, just give us perhaps as much as you possibly can with regards to the understanding of the situation as well, and how things have certainly been for our guest too.
Well, for our guest, Arabile, together with our viewers, one of the things that we were talking about is the financial implication or the expense of managing lupus, but also more awareness that needs to be done so that communities, family members that have relatives or members that are diagnosed with lupus, they can be able to support them more. But let me speak to Lolo Lekgoane. She is the lupus warrior, but also thank you so much and welcome to Newzroom Afrika. Talk to us about your experience when you were diagnosed and, some of the symptoms of lupus.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. So I was diagnosed with lupus in 2012. And to be quite honest, my symptoms were quite, they were not many as other lupus warriors experience. So it was just joint pains. Like I would get joint pains every now and then, but I took it very lightly. I just thought to myself, it's probably because I don't dress warm and I don't take care of myself. And apart from the joint pains, it was also fatigue. But it's the type of fatigue that is not normal. Like that's why we refer to it as chronic fatigue, to a point where you can sleep for 8 hours but still wake up and still feeling like you've just been hit by a truck. And then I also got what is called a mylar rash. It's a butterfly rash. Hence the symbol of lupus is actually butterfly. So it usually presents itself in a butterfly format. What led me to the hospital just before the diagnosis, I remember that day very vividly. I was just sitting on the couch and I couldn't walk, I couldn't breathe. I literally felt like my soul was about to leave my body. And fortunately, I was able to call a friend of mine who lived nearby, and she rushed me to hospital. When we got to the hospital, a physician happened to be on duty that evening. And because of the butterfly rash, she looked at me immediately and said, "This is lupus." At the time, honestly, I didn't know what it was. But yeah, that's what she concluded.
And over the years, you have been able to find information and, but also you were talking about the expense of how much expensive it is to manage lupus. Talk to us about, the financial implications.
Lupus is a quite costly condition to have. You can imagine somebody who's not on medical aid. There's a certain medication that every lupus patient takes, and that it costs around 3,000 rand just for a supply of 2 weeks. So if you're not on medical aid and if you're in a town that doesn't have rheumatologist or doesn't even have that doesn't have a supply of that medication. So, and also the other thing is that you don't see just one specialist, you see quite a number of doctors. So in my case, I'll speak for my personal experience. I see an ophthalmologist, and that's around 2,500 rand. I see a rheumatologist, that's around almost 3,000 rand for every consultation. And then for the neurologist as well, that's around 2,000 rand. So it's quite a costly disease to have.
In terms of awareness, is much been done?
Pardon?
In terms of awareness, is much been done, or do you feel like more still needs to be done?
Definitely more still needs to be done. I feel like we're getting somewhere. I mean, I was just watching a soapy just the other day, and one of the storylines is actually lupus. So to me, that tells me that a lot of people are becoming aware. The word is out there. Although we need to get to a point where lupus is made so much noise, just as the likes of your cancer, your HIV, and your diabetes. So a lot still needs to be done. A lot can be done.
Thank you so much for your time, Lolo Lekgoane. There, Arabile talking about a lot that still need to be done in terms of awareness about lupus, but also talking about some of the financial implications that she has to, incur as she manages lupus. She was diagnosed when she was 25 years. We will be speaking to other lupus patients also for them to share their experience with us.